Alexander Lukashenko didn't look at all worried. This man has won every election by a landslide since 1994. Easy when you control the media and the vote count. And the man, once dubbed Europe's last dictator, was scathing about his female opponent.
I don't consider that person my main rival. It's you who made the poor little thing my main rival. But she says quite honestly that she has no idea what she's doing.
That's not how Svetlana Tikhanovskaya looked on the campaign trail. Just weeks ago, she was a stay-at-home mum. Then her husband was blocked from running for president and arrested. So Svetlana stepped in, and she's tapped into growing discontent with the man at the top. On election day, his security forces were taking no chances. These three, pinned to the ground, are Russian journalists. The internet's been blocked all day too. Though that didn't stop this video getting out from a polling station. Officials insist she's not making off with any ballot papers. She just got stuck in a room. Svetlana Tikhanovskaya never expected to win at the ballot box, but she and her supporters have always vowed to defend their vote on the streets. And tonight, those protests have already begun. Sarah Rainsford, BBC News, Moscow.
The authorities should think about how to peacefully hand over power to us. So far, they've only responded with violence against peaceful citizens.
Lukashenko casting his vote on Sunday, and he has ruled Belarus since 1994. He's been dubbed Europe's last dictator. None of the elections that he has won previously were found to be free and fair by Western observers. And similar concerns are also being expressed by Belarus's neighbours today.
Well, reaction, not just demonstrations, but also what happened later last night and also in the run-up to the elections was not a democratic process, and we cannot consider these elections as free, democratic, transparent.
The last presidential so-called election, which took place in 2015, was by international community clearly declared undemocratic and not fair. And we have a solid basis of observations already now, and looking also the context where the political opponents were arrested, violence has been used, to say also that I would not say that these elections were democratic and free.
See this kind of opposition in the previous election. So yes, the result was never going to... People felt the result was never going to be any different, the official result, but they are in a different place now, and they are certainly not in a place where they are willing to accept this result. You know, we saw for weeks the crowds building and building behind the opposition. So the extent of the Lukashenko victory at 80%, I think, has shocked us.
And, well, this is the capital, Minsk. Police are using stun grenades, rubber bullets and also water cannons against the protesters. Official sources said that 50 protesters were injured. Here's what some of them had to say.
There were lots of people with guns. They started shooting at our arms and legs.
At first, people were peaceful. They formed a big human chain. Then the police started grabbing them, and there were clashes. About 90 minutes later came the rubber bullets and stun grenades.
Snatched while they protest peacefully. It's indiscriminate. Police take anyone they can get hold of.
Dozens of police officers have just got out and started grabbing people off the streets, pulling them out of the protest and throwing them into the van there.
Disgrace, they chant. After decades of living under this regime.
I have to sacrifice something for my husband and now for my country as well.
Do you think you can win?
We don't believe in honest elections. But I still believe that our president will understand that his time is over. People don't want him anymore.
Not a single election since President Lukashenko took power in 1994 has been judged free or fair. But it's his response to coronavirus that's tipped people over the edge. The president has dismissed the virus as a psychosis and refused to lock down. This year's Victory Day was celebrated as usual, and people feel he's gambled with their lives. This visible defiance of the government hasn't been seen for more than a decade. After an hour of arrests, police cover their faces. They're determined to clear the streets.
If you see military car, you need to run. Nothing more, just run.
This man will join hundreds already in jail. Some have spent weeks now in punishment cells without trial. Suddenly, our cameraman is taken. He's bundled into this van. He's one of 15 journalists to be detained tonight.
Last
night we watched people who were protesting against your government be taken off the streets and detained. Is that freedom of speech?
Ситуация в Европе, которая во многих странах происходит с использованием слезоточивого газа и водометов, поэтому по поводу реакции на несанкционированное уличное мероприятие, по-моему, в нашей стране она еще не особо жесткая.
These young Belarusians have been afraid their entire lives, but not anymore. Now they're ready to fight for change. They just don't know yet how ferociously the regime is prepared to fight back.
Explosions rocking the Belarusian capital a few hours after polls have closed. Opposition supporters have come out in thousands to protest the initial election results. Riot police is blocking the entrance to a large square and is firing stun grenades into the crowd. A police truck drives into protesters. Ambulances are rushing in to take the injured to hospital.
I want to live in a free country and my children to live in a free country. I want them to have a future. I want them to live here and work here and not be forced to leave the country. My granddaughter is 16 years old and asks me, where shall I go?
Protesters put up barricades on the main roads to prevent police cars of getting near them.
Defiance and anger here on the streets of Minsk. Thousands of people have come out to protest to what they call fake elections.
Earlier in the day, their candidate Svetlana Tikhanovskaya had come out of hiding to cast her vote. She had left her apartment on the eve of the elections, fearing arrest. At first, a reluctant presidential candidate, she has grown into the biggest hope many Belarusians have for change. Tikhanovskaya's election rallies attracted the largest crowds Belarus has seen in decades. After casting his vote, President Alexander Lukashenko called the opposition weak. For decades he's enjoyed solid support in the former Soviet country. Lately he's faced criticism for downplaying the COVID-19 crisis and worsening economy. Criticism that has rapidly grown into the largest threat to his 26 years rule. While before the authorities may have managed to control the opposition by using force, this time around people say and show that they are beyond fear.
Шакалы! Валите на них, что стоим! Пошли! Пошли!